So today it's getting janky in here, very janky, as we are winning intense games on the ladder with a ton of weird cards and a massive flock of birds. Hey everyone, Hex here, and today we got some new cards, some old cards, but the same strategy, winning on the ladder with a very janky brew. Firstly though, if you'd all be so kind as to drop a like on the video and subscribe below if you haven't to not miss out on future content. Needless to say, your support for this channel is amazing. But onto this deck, and Defenders are back. That's right, you heard it here first. With Outlaws of Thunder Junction comes a sweet new spree card in Lively Dirge. It's a spree sorcery that allows us to find any card and put it in our graveyard, then return up to 2 cards from the graveyard to the battlefield with total mana value of 4. So I've been exploring this card all day long, and my decision, Wingmantle Chaplain. Now this old limited favourite is an 0/3 of Defender that says when it ETBs, make a 1/1 bird for each creature you control with Defender, then whenever another Defender ETBs, make another bird. On the face of it, it's pretty bad, but in the right deck with some new cards, it can be pretty powerful. So our deck today is packed with Defenders. Defenders that have some power to keep opposing creatures at bay. I've got Bulwarks, Concealing Curtains, Blight Piles, and Faithbound Judges. They all do something more than just sit there blocking. Bulwarks allow us to attack with Defenders. Blight Piles can do damage just by tapping it. Judges are all win conditions if you ever get to 7 mana, and Curtains allow you to nab a card from your opponent's hand. Now, I've played similar decks before, but always needed something more to win a lot of games. Well, I think I found that today. Dirge finds 4 drops. Well, what 4 drop will really help with attacking 1/1s today? It's Bloodletter. Tutor this to the battlefield and your flock of birds then become a serious problem for your opponent. I'm playing Getaway Glamer for some removal, but also able to flicker your chaplains for more birds at instant speed, and because of that I'm playing Fleshgorgers too. They are invaluable life gain, and Glamer these for surprise 7/5s at instant speed. Your opponents will hate to see that one. I've got Triumphs for removal and some Veterans for more life gain with your birds. 24 lands, and that is today's deck. So this deck is wild. It is a lot of fun and really holds its own today. I won't spoil the results as you will see those for yourself. Alternative wise though, and I've tried a lot today, you can play some more Defenders, but I strongly advise to use those with power to help kill your opposing creatures. And you could always play some more interaction too. You could be cheeky and add some red for War Leader's Call, or even play Campbell. This can easily be made way more budget friendly as well, with a few tweaks here and there. Anyway though, stay tuned until the end when I will go over all the stats for this deck and any thoughts that I may have. But in the meantime, sit back, relax, and see how I fare on the ladder with this crazy brew. Alright, on the play with this wacky, janky little crazy brew that our opponents don't seem to know how to handle. So we'll keep this hand, it's a pretty good one. And we just need to find some more lands to play. Opponent with a island, okay. Well, Courtyard's nice because that means we can double spell. We can go Veteran into Bulwark here. And we can gain a life. And yeah, we're just going to hit our land drops, and Chaplain's going to gain a load of life with the Veteran. Opponent with a Mishra's Foundry, and they say go. Well, that is a Sanctum, so we can attack here if we want to with the Bulwark. But I think the thing that I want to do most is just add to the board, keep it flowing, keep our creatures flowing. They can counter this if they want, but are they really going to want to counter a Blight Pile? This deck is definitely not going to work in the next few months when the sets all rotate, as a lot of these come from the older sets. So if you've got any of these handy, now is the time just to give it a whirl on the ladder if you want to do something a little bit different. If you want to play something very off meta. I put a poll up the other day to decide which kind of decks people like to watch on YouTube, and janky combos and janky brews was definitely top of that poll, so I do enjoy doing those. They're quite difficult in the best of one meta, as a lot of times we're having to focus on just staying alive. We have got a bit of life gain in this deck, which is helping us play against more aggressive decks. Opponent with a Synthesizer deck here. I will link to my Synthesizer deck. I was really happy with that. It got me up to Mythic last season. Now there are some changes you can make. You can go more aggressive, you can go more control-y. But I found the deck was so just so good. It was one of the decks that I've been most happy with in Standard. But we are putting a lot of creatures onto the board, and they might not be able to deal with that unless they've got a board wipe. Thran Spider there does block our birds. We are going to Dirge here, and we're going to look for Bloodletter of Aclazotz, because there's just one copy of this in the deck, and it's a card that I think is going to take our opponents a little bit by surprise. I didn't want more than one in here, but in this particular situation, we can do 6 damage with our birds here. I mean, I guess they'll just block one of them, so 4 damage. But Blight Pile suddenly becomes a real viable game-winning option, as when we get a chance to tap that, we're going to do 6 damage to our opponent without even attacking. They didn't block, which was slightly weird. They could have blocked one of our birds with a Thran Spider though. And it's Kite Sail Larcenist for them. They have to go after this Bloodletter. They do. It turns into a treasure. Does it keep its abilities though? Doesn't look like it. Nope, last line there. Loses all other abilities. Okay. If we had a second copy of the Bloodletter in the deck, we could have dirged it out here for... Not sure if it was lethal, but it would be very close. But I think what we'll do here is we'll just find a Chaplain here, straight to the battlefield, make a whole bunch more birds, and we'll just see if we can destroy them in the air. One thing I know about their deck is if they're not playing a mass removal spell, they're going to be able to take care of one creature at a time from us. And they're going to be ground creatures they're creating. We can jump all day long. We have 8 birds for next turn. We can use our Blight Pile, so we're threatening lethal next turn. Another Synthesizer for them, okay. Makes another massive construct token, but like I said, these are ground creatures. They need to find like an Assimilation Aegis, or... Yeah, I don't even know if that would work. But they just don't have any attacks. Well, they could, but... Huh. Getaway Glamer, hey? We can't destroy the Larcenist because it only has 2 power and there's some 6 power creatures on the battlefield. But we can flicker this. It doesn't come back until the next end step, and we could potentially be winning by that point. We'll pay the ward cost of this Larcenist here, and this will release our Bloodletter. Oh yeah, this is a nice turn for us here. This is going to be a nice turn if this works. They do have mana open though, I guess they could just counter this. They've gone for Fading Hope instead. Okay. Well, the creature was going to enter the re-enter the battlefield anyway, but that's fine by me. It does what we need to do. We get our Bloodletter back, and we can just smash our opponent with 8 birds. 8 1/1 birds. One of the jankiest wins I've had for a while, and we can also use Blight Pile. I mean, I would say most players don't even know what Blight Pile is, but this is going to finish them off as well. And yeah, Bloodletter, Blight Pile, Birds, Chaplain. We managed to take down a mono blue Synthesizer deck. Alright, on the draw here, and I've got to say this is a pretty nice hand for us here. Curtains into Triumph into Gorger, or Curtains holding up Triumph into Gorger, that's pretty decent, and we do find a Faithbound Judge as well. So this Chaplain's looking better and better. I didn't want to put too many defenders in there. I've done that before with the Chaplain, and I felt like we needed a more rounded deck today, so... You can put more in if you absolutely want. You could even, if you really want to be cheeky, go for War Leader's Call in this deck. Play some red. Because the Chaplain into War Leader's Call is a lot of damage. Not only the birds 2/2s, but they're doing a lot of ETB damage as well. So go for that if you absolutely want to. Opponent with a Deep Cavern Bat. A card that was originally in this deck, but decided to go for the Fleshgorgers instead, as Fleshgorger works nicely with the Glamers, and if you've watched any of my previous videos, I've kind of tried explaining that I do like all my cards to do more than just one thing. I don't want them to be too narrow, and I think having Glamers in the deck and the Fleshgorger is nice, even though flickering your bats can be a pretty nice little play as well. But yeah, even match so far. Opponent with the Duelist, the Bats. The Flyers are going to be a little bit annoying, but we can make our own Flyers to block. Interested to see what they nab with the Deep Cavern Bat here. They went for the Judge. Okay, I guess it is a 4/4 flyer. Does that suggest they might not have removal then? I reckon it could, because otherwise we would have just played that this turn. They could have just removed it and taken the... Why didn't they take the Bitter Triumph? I'm not sure. Who knows? We're going to go for Fleshgorger anyway, to get some power and toughness onto the battlefield. Not sure if they've got a board wipe or anything, but who knows? They did discard a Bloodletter though, so I'm not entirely sure what they're doing. They are committing a crime here, and they are drawing and discarding. So Duelist, a really sweet card, especially in Proft decks. And it is Mind Link Mech. Okay, that gives the game away. They are a Bloodletter Mind Link Mech combo deck. Now, I've never played that on this channel. There is plenty of videos online about this, but essentially you crew up your mech with a Bloodletter and you win the game. So we need to look in their hand. We've got Concealing Curtains here to do just that. And yep, there's a Bloodletter. There's also a Rush of Dread in the hand as well, so they are fully prepared to combo win here with their Bloodletter. Very pleased to be took that, and they did put one in their grave early on as well, so hopefully they are out of vampires for the meantime. We can start gaining some life with the Fleshgorger. It's not going to matter too much. We know they have Rush of Dread. Going to make me probably get rid of my board. I will keep the Fleshgorger alive. It's my key card at the moment. It's going to keep us in the game, and if we can find a Glamer, that would be great. Yeah, it's Rush of Dread from the opponent. And they are drawing and discarding with their Duelist here. Oh, well, they went for my life total instead. Okay. I guess that works. They're attacking with their mech, so we're going to go down to 2. They go up to 19. We find a Red Rock Sentinel. Okay. Sentinel, a card I probably am going to remove from this deck, as it's a 3-mana card that I'm not 100% happy with. I think there are better options. We missed a land though, which is a bit annoying. I just want to hold open this Bitter Triumph. Second mech for our opponent. Yeah, they are. This is a lethal attack by them. They're going to crew up their mech with the bat again. That 4/3 life linker for them. And we have to Bitter Triumph here, otherwise we are going to die. This is a very tough game here. I'm not sure if we're going to get out of this one. We do have Fleshgorger to help save us, but we absolutely need a land. And we have to discard something. I guess we can discard the Chaplain, because if we find a land, we can just dirge it back. So yeah, that's probably the best play there. We could have, I guess, also discarded the Sentinel, and then we could have used the Dirge to find a Veteran and bring that back with the Sentinel. But let's go for Dirge. Bring back the Chaplain onto the battlefield. Make a few 1/1s, 3 1/1s. No, 2 1/1s, because the Curtains is the Revealing Eye, isn't it? And yeah, I mean, we have to attack. Take the opponent down to 7. We go to 7 ourselves. What do they have? Do they have a Bloodletter? That would be a nightmare right now. But we have blockers as well. I guess they are forced to attack, I would presume, with the Mind Link mech to gain 4 life. We are tapped out, so we can't do anything about this. We will just chump. But they go up to 11 now. And we're going to take a point of damage from the Duelist. Alright, this is a really tough game. This is a close game as well. I bet they wish they didn't discard that Bloodletter early on. We find another Sentinel. Definitely removing these cards later. They're too expensive. I was hoping the 2 power might be good, but We can't double spell right now. We can Blight Pile. Or we can activate a Blight Pile. Not a good position. What we have to do though is attack. Otherwise we are not going to win. So we're going to definitely get in there with the Fleshgorger and the Revealing Eye. They have Menace, so they'll get through. And we do gain 3 life. I guess we might as well just attack first. Opponent is taking it, as they have to. And they go down to 5. We go back up to 9. And we'll just play a Sentinel here. So these do sack a land to draw a card and make a treasure. They're not the worst cards in the world. They're just a little bit expensive for a 3-mana defender. Needs to have flying. I prefer the Judges, but we will see. Alright, opponent. I think this is going to be the turn that they have to try and kill us, because I don't know if we can... Oh, okay. Virtue for the opponent. Gaining some more life and taking care of one of my birds. Well, that is frustrating. And a cut down as well. Okay. Doubly frustrating. So they're going to go up to 11. We're going to be definitely taking 6 here. This is a right roller coaster. Okay, no mana. We are really pushing our luck here. But opponent is out of cards. They have a Virtue in exile that they're probably going to have to play if they don't draw anything exciting. I guess we just get in there with the Fleshgorger, the Revealing Eye, and play both our Blight Piles and attempt to win next turn by activating one of these. This has been a really good game here. This Chaplain has really helped us out by making the birds, blocking where we can. Virtue for our opponent. Yeah, and they're out of cards completely. And even if they attack here, although they go up to 9, we're only going to go down to 1. No blocks, I guess. We'll keep our birds around so we can attack our opponent next turn. Another Concealing Curtains, and I'm pretty sure we've got lethal here with Blight Pile. This is a crazy game. We'll attack with the 2/1/1s, the menacing creatures. This is 8 damage, and Blight Pile can finish off our opponent. What a crazy game of Magic that one was, but I'm so happy we won that. Alright then, on the play. Couple of early plays for us here, and a Fleshgorger. Pretty nice. We can use the Glamer as well to flicker that Fleshgorger. I like this hand. Opponent with a Swift Spear. Are we up against mono red? Are we up against mono red? We will see. We'll play our Blight Pile. It looks that way. Hell yes. This is what I wanted. I was looking at mono red when I was trying to build this deck, thinking, how do we survive? A lot of my recent janky builds have had problems against mono red, and I really wanted to try and make this one survive against this. They did plot their slick shot there, so that's going to be a slight problem. But one thing we can do in a minute, if the Fleshgorger survives... Wait, that's not land. Yeah, that's land. We can place Fleshgorger here, and if they do not kill this card, we can flicker it and we can start racing them with a 7/5 lifelinker. So that was one of the big goals of this particular build today. Okay, here comes the slick shot, sure. We could do with finding a removal spell, just a normal removal spell as well. But they are pretty much incentivized to want to kill this Fleshgorger, I think. Even just as a 3/3, it's going to be a problem for them. Another Swift Spear. I feel like Mono Red always has their Swift Spears in the opening couple of hands. Yeah, and there's a Lightning Strike to take care of our Fleshgorger. Okay, fair enough. We may well lose this game. But they can't really attack into my Blight Pile. Our 3/3 here holding its own against 2 Swift Spears. That's what I like to see. Find a Chaplain though, that's a very good draw. We'll definitely just play this now to make 2 birds. We can block this show off, unless they want to give it Menace. Okay, so yeah, our turn 4, we're still on 16 life. Rending Flame to take care of Blight Pile, okay. I bet you they've never used a rending flame on a Blight Pile before. We'll just block what we can. We're going to absolutely kill this show off. And although we go down to just the one creature, we have that show off the battlefield. Fortress is nice, so we can start gaining some life back a little bit later on. Glamer here. We can flicker, but we can also... So we can flicker our Chaplain if we want to. Yeah, I think that's probably for the best. We'll just flicker this, get some birds. I guess that was an instant, wasn't it? Yeah, I'm thinking 2 turns ahead at the moment. Yeah, that was an instant. We should have waited. I'm not sure it's going to really matter too much. What are they going to do? They have 3 mana open. Our Blight Pile can take care of their Swift Spears. Is this some secret tech here against Mono Red, this Blight Pile? We'd love to find a Dirge or just a straight up removal spell or another Chaplain. Anything to get some more creatures on the board for us would be great. A Veteran would be nice. Okay, it's Rending Flame again on our Blight Pile. We've seen that before. Second Soken'Zan for them. Okay, so they have to sacrifice a land. I don't really like putting more than 1 copy of the channel lands in my decks for that reason. We'll block what we can here. Now they could blow us out here quite easily with a 1 mana spell, but I think we need to just make sure that we make them do it. Okay, it's Flowstone Intuition, sure. And we are now down to 14 life still, but no creatures on the board except for this Judge that we've just drawn, and this is an annoying card for them, a 4/4 flyer. I have never won with the Judge's alt wing conditions. Is this going to be it? We're going to need 7 mana and this in the graveyard for that to happen. Curse of Hospitality for our opponent. They don't have a decent attack. So we find another Judge, okay. Just the 2 copies in this deck because I felt like a 3 mana Defender was quite expensive, but it being a flyer I felt like was pretty nice against slick shots. And they're going to have a problem getting through 2 4/4s here. In a minute they'll be able to start attacking as well when the counters tick up a little bit. We'll block, we'll double block it. Antagonize, okay, so we're going to lose one of our Judges. And they are going to grab a card off our deck. It is a Swamp, okay, that could have been worse. So we find a Walking Bulwark, okay. Alright, well, oh wait a minute. Oh, we don't have 7 mana. We have 6 mana. I was going to curse them, but we'll play the Bulwark and attack with a Fortress instead, and we can start draining them, and it's 14 all. I think we've got just enough life gain in this deck for this to work quite nicely. Swift Spear attacks. Monstrous Rage as well, sure. But we managed to take care of their Swift Spear, and they find a Courtyard off the top of our deck. Okay, we are swerving the opponent's Curse of Hospitality here. We can smack them with our Fortress, and now we can start actually attacking with our creatures, as the Bulwark for 2 mana turns each one into an attacking creature with its power the same as its toughness. So that's 7 on the board here. It also gives haste. So if we find another land, another creature, we can start giving our creatures haste. Okay, well, there's another creature in a Bulwark. Not too bothered about my life total just at this second, so I think what we'll do though is Revealing Eye, see what they've got. See Brotherhood's End, and I guess we smack with this Bulwark. 6 damage, could have done 7 there, but next turn we can attack with the Revealing Eye without having to pump mana into it with our mana sinks. Restless Fortress for our opponent. Okay, well, we'll just block. Don't really want that Curse of Hospitality to go off anymore. And opponent scoops it up. Wow, taking down mono red. Alright then, on the draw. Hand looks pretty nice. Pretty nice indeed. We'll keep this one. Not sure about the Shield Wall Sentinel in this deck. I'm just going to try it out. This is actually the first game that I'm playing with this deck. Not sure what order they'll be on my video, so... Shield Wall seems a little bit expensive now for 4 mana. I feel like the Dirge takes care of what the Sentinel used to do, which was find your Chaplain. Opponent with a Vran, though. And yeah, can't attack it through my Blight Pile. Pretty nice for us. Concealed Courtyard for us as well. Untapped mana. And yeah, slightly awkward for us. Whether we go for the Fleshgorger or Curtains and hold open Glamer. Going to go for Fleshgorger. We have the Glamer available here to flicker that if we need to. Okay, they pass their turn. They're going to regret that if they're holding open a removal spell. Well, we can get in there with our 3/3 though. I think sometimes if you've got a removal spell, you just want to fire it off, especially if your opponent is tapped out. They are not going to expect us to flicker this Fleshgorger. I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait. I could do it any time. Okay, they've gone for it. Yeah. I knew they would. It's Annihilating Glare as well. So we will do this now. Pay 3 mana to flicker our Fleshgorger. And we're going to get a 7/5 onto the battlefield. And we can even Bitter Triumph this Vran as well if we want to. No. Opponent has seen enough already. Alright then, on the draw. Hand looks fine. Pretty nice actually. We have our 1 copy of Bloodletter though. Would prefer if that was a Chaplain or another Defender. Or a Dirge. We can bring that out with Dirge if we needed to. But we'll keep this one. Put it with a Swamp. And we'll play our Courtyard and say go. So with next turn we've got Pile into Fleshgorger, into Aclazotz if we can find a Swamp along the way. Put it with a Veteran. Okay, well we'll play our Blight Pile here. If the opponent plays a Blight Pile themselves, I will literally eat my hat. We are up against an Orzhov deck with a Veteran here, but presumably this is just, what, a life gain deck so far? Tenacious Underdog, maybe not. Maybe just Orzhov mid-range here. Dirge for us is pretty nice. We'll go for the Fleshgorger here. And say go. Okay, they might just have a removal spell, but so be it. We really need a Swamp next turn. Farmhand for them. Looking for a Plains. And playing their Plains. And also playing Elas Ilkor. Okay. Okay, this could be a close game. That was our Caves. So we'll go with Chaplain here. We'll make some birds so we can start attacking over the top. And these birds with our Bloodletter is going to be... start putting in some crazy damage. Sure, they've got a removal spell or 2 along the way, but they decided to transform their farmhand instead to a 3/3 lifelinker. Not something you see every day. We'll go for Bloodletter here. Take a damage and hit them for 4 damage here. Would love to start finding some cheaper defenders. Here is Elspeth, okay. And they are going to give their 4/4 flying. Okay, Elspeth, a little bit annoying actually. It's kind of changed what I want to do. We have these Bitter Triumphs. We could take care of their 4/4 and attack down Elspeth. Or we could just shoot Elspeth and attempt to win maybe over the next couple of turns with... because we've got Bloodletter on the battlefield. We have Blight Pile as well, so how much damage can we even do? So we can do 3... do about 12 damage. I think we'll just take care of this, the Elspeth here. We'll play another Walking Bulwark. We'll hold open Bitter Triumph. And we'll see how this goes, because I think we can potentially win next turn. Blight Pile can do 6 damage, plus 3 birds attacking with Bloodletter, and we can Triumph away their 4/4. So, yeah, we could potentially win next turn. Okay, well, they're just attacking with everyone here. What does this mean? There's no way they've got a board wipe, is there? They're a creature-based deck. Maybe they do. Okay, let's see. Let's just block the veteran and see what happens. I mean, we can just dirge the creatures back. We'll see. Okay, so we're going to go down to 6 here. And probably a depopulate. I would expect Sunfall. Well, I wasn't playing around Sunfall. I will tell you that one. Yeah, I was thinking that maybe they would have like a depopulate or something. Sunfall is extremely good for them in this situation. They would exile their underdog and Elas. So, yeah, we'll see how this goes. I'm thinking whether to Bitter Triumph one of my creatures to dirge it back out. Definitely one of the better Sunfalls I've seen. And it gives them an 11/11 because that's the way Sunfall likes to work. Alright, well, we'll go for Curtains and just dirge back our creatures or not. Oh, that's Sunfall, isn't it? I've been tilted. Please forgive me here. I was thinking that was depopulate. That was in my brain right now. I was going to bring back the Chaplain. Opponent with a Plains, and yeah, I mean, I just don't see us getting out of this one. With Bitter Triumph available to take care of their 11/11, but even that one's going to take 3 damage from us. Curtains is going to certainly be on chumping duty, and they play a 3rd creature, and I believe we're dead, because we have to chump here. And it's Caves, and even if we just Bitter Triumph away their 11/11, we are going to die to their land and their 3/3s, so GG's. Alright, on the play, and this hand it has potential. We have turn 1 and turn 2 play, looking for a payoff with our Dirge or a Chaplain at some point. But Glamer is nice, as it's a kind of pseudo removal spell. You have to jump through a couple of hurdles to take out your opponent's threat, but it is fine by me. We'll play the Curtains. Let me know what you think about the Spree cards. The Return the Favour, the red card, is the one that interests me the most. There is a deck of brewing in my mind about that one, but it's so janky, I'm finding it very hard to even play it on the ladder at the moment. There's a lot of interaction going on, but it's very quick at the moment in best of 1. So any deck that is sort of aiming to get to turn 6 or 7 to win requires quite intricate building. We'll block their creatures appropriately here. Maybe the Blight Pile taking out the Swift Spear is not so great. Let's just kill the Scamp while we have a chance. He'll die, and it's 1 power, and it's 1 damage. It's not going to hit me too hard. Bitter Triumph there is a nice draw for us. It means we can double spell. We can go Veteran and hold open the Triumph in case the opponent has too many shenanigans on this Swift Spear, or they find like a Slick Shot or something. So I had a very similar deck to this quite a while ago now, and I rewatched the video earlier, and Standard has changed a lot since those days. That was a deck that I was quite able to just really push on the defenders. This deck I've required a lot more interaction just to get through the first 4 or 5 turns. So I was really interested to watch an old video there. Monstrous Rage here on the Swift Spear. Sure. Okay, I mean, we'll just kill it. I think instead of taking 6 damage, we'll just take 3 and take care of the Swift Spears. We find our Bulwark, okay. Another decent card. I'm not going to be using my Curtains this turn. I want to keep as many defenders on the battlefield as possible, and not really concerned about what's in their hand too much. This Glamer is giving away that we've got something, as the Curtains can't be activated just yet. We've tapped our black mana. Picnic Ruiner for our opponent, okay. So yeah, they are a mono-red kind of antagonized style deck. I'm not sure what you call these type of decks, but it's not the classic mono-red prowess deck. Bane Splitter here to attach +2/+0 and +2/+0 to a target creature. Sure. So I could flicker this Scamp. What I can't do is destroy it though, because it requires the highest power on the battlefield, and actually it's equal with my Blight Pile and their Ruiner as well. So I could do with that actually being a little bit more powerful. Land. Could crack the curtains. Could tap the Blight Pile. Could attack with a Bulwark. Just pass the turn, I think. See what they want to do. That was a really unexciting draw for us there. I do like playing against decks like this. I'm just thinking that the opponent has no idea what they're playing against, because this deck just literally does not exist in Standard. Yeah, we'll just take care of the Picnic Ruiner. Or do we? 10 damage. I don't think we can just take 10 damage. I'm just trying to think of how do we, not necessarily just stay alive, but how do we win the game? We're going to have to start attacking soon. We'll just kill the Picnic Ruiner when it attacks. Just destroy that. It's got the highest power out of all creatures on the battlefield. And we find another Glamer. Sure, that's nice. Could do with a Fleshgorger. That would be excellent. Or a Dirge. Alright, let's get in there. Let's get in for some damage. I think that's the only thing we're going to be able to do here to stop treading water a little bit. We can make the curtains a 4/4 and get in there. They can't block that. Well, they can block it, but they would lose both their creatures if they attempt to double block. So I think this is the best thing. I think we'll put them on a clock. We're still on 12 life. We do have the Glamer if we want to flicker any of their creatures, if they get up to any kind of nonsense going on, especially with the Scamp. Swift Spear is fine. They do have this Bane Splitter though that they can attach to something. Goes on to the Swift Spear, okay. A 3/2. Can just block that if we want to. Yeah, they don't do anything here. So this is when we can start doing some damage with Blight Pile as well. So we actually have them on a pretty nice clock. We can just continuously do the same thing until we find any of our chaplains here. Let's go back for the curtains. Just keeping this as a defender for the minute. We'll attack with this. If they want a double block, I will absolutely take the double block here. And they do. Okay, I mean, sure. Take care of my veteran. We could flicker that if we want to. Do I really care? Maybe not. I guess we could have activated our Blight Pile in response to our creature about to die. Etch in here a 4/2. Okay, well we can destroy that if we want to. Or we can just tap our Blight Pile. Yep, let's let them go to attacks. Yeah, we will destroy it. I mean, I think it's best that we just take care of the board as we can. Then we can start getting in there next turn with our creatures. And Curtains is going to be a nice card as well for a following turn to attack with. But we can get in there here with 2 6-power creatures. Does actually give haste as well. We just don't have that extra land. Otherwise we could have played Curtains and given that one haste. Opponent down to 7 though. I mean, we've overtaken them. They have to do with our board here. It is Fugitive Codebreaker. And they are going to die. Another mono red deck. Yeah, there's just some kind of crazy attack there. Another mono red deck is going to be taken down by our really wacky Defenders deck here. I reckon this deck is just difficult to play against rather than be too good. It's just so off meta. Okay, so let's check on the stats for this deck over on untap.gg, and as you can see, this version ended up going 5-1. Not too bad on the ladder as well, And look, 100% against mono red. We played 2 games, we won 2 games. Our deck is extremely janky, extremely off meta, so I was pretty proud about that. There was a couple of alterations here and there. We added some cards, we removed some cards, but we ended up with this particular list. Really nice distribution of early plays, some Faithbound Judges in the 3 mana slot. I am looking to maybe increase the 3 mana slot here, as the only got a couple of options there, but we have some decent 4 mana cards to help surprise our opponents. I think the Dirge works really well with the Chaplain. It certainly is better than the old Sentinel, which costs 4 mana to get a creature onto the board and then find the Chaplain. At least with the Dirge, you get to put the creature straight onto the battlefield. And then we have, looking for the Bloodletter of Aclazotz, a really nice little combo piece there, a little something sort of off piece for us to do to try and find a way to squeeze out a victory. And then we've got this Glamer and Fleshgorger mini combo at the end. I have an entire deck around these 2 cards built, but it just isn't particularly good at the moment, so I'm still exploring more options, but I really think adding it to this deck was a real bonus, and it certainly helped a couple of games. So to check out my stats for this video and all the decks that I play, the link to my untapped.gg is listed in the description. That's where you'll also find a link to download the deck tracker for yourself. You'll get to track your stats, see what decks are being played, and maybe find a deck or 2 that you can make with your collection. It's all over there on untapped.gg. But thank you for watching this video, supporting the channel as we grow, and I will catch you again in the next video.